Ez. Like, there are some things that my dad says, and it's like, how are you a 50-year-old man? You are definitely a teenage girl. But he does, like, you know, he gives the train a side eye. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to sound really untractory right now. All of my friends that are farmers are going to be like, oh my gosh, Ez. Hello everybody and welcome back to my podcast, Esme's Country Life. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about my beach trip with Casper, my trip to an RDA Center, and also a little bit about maybe somebody new that I met. But anyway, moving on, I just want to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of the podcast, Red Post. Red Post is an equestrian and country store based in the UK, but they also ship all over the world. And actually, thought I would let you know, now is the time this summer to check your helmets and check your body protectors, especially as if you're a little bit like me and maybe doing cross country or that kind of thing, or pony club camp. That was always me. Back when I was younger, pony club camp was the highlight of my summer. But if you have any camps or anything like that, please check your body protectors and please check your helmets, especially when it comes to competitions and that sort of thing, because they are very strict. I want you guys to stay safe, and helmets and body protectors can go out of date. So make sure that they're fitting correctly, they're up to date, and they're not super old. So yes, if you need any new helmets, body protectors, that kind of thing, you can go to Red Post. Also at Red Post, they do helmet fittings as well. So if you need to get a new helmet and you're not sure what size you are, be sure to go and check them out. And of course, they also sell online at redpostequestrian.co.uk. Anyway, let's get into today's episode. Starting off, the last week and a bit has been a little tricky in the Higgs household, or just like my family in general, because I do have a family member at the moment that was in hospital pretty much all of last week. So not the best like cheery start to the podcast, but they're all good and they're all right at the moment. So I'm going to actually be staying around at home quite a lot of this summer, just because at the end of the day, family does come first. I do have a few meet and greets here, there and everywhere, but a lot of them are just day trips for me, which is lucky. So I can be close to my family if needs be, which is very important. But yeah, I just thought I would start off with saying that. So yeah, this week's podcast episode, I don't know. Actually, no, I've got a lot to talk about. I've got a lot to update you on, actually. I'm thinking about it. But anyway, so there probably won't be as many kind of like, wild stories. I've always got stories. You guys know me. I embarrass myself in my own home. So there's always something to talk about. But first off, I thought I would talk about my trip to the beach with Casper, because one thing that we are so lucky with where we are is that the beach isn't too far away. Although I've said this before, I think, in podcasts or on my channel, is that our beach is normally a pebble beach, but when the tide goes out, it is a sandy beach, so it means that we can take the horses there. So we got up very bright and early, so much so that Joey was still asleep in his stable, which is so cute. I don't know, when horses are super sleepy, I just think it's the cutest thing, especially when they have all shavings in their mane and their head. And Joey was just like, normally, as you guys know, Joey will do anything for attention and anything for food. So for him to be like so sleepy that he was kind of disorientated and wasn't just thinking food attention, it was quite funny. And he's also like just so cuddly and sleepy and that kind of thing. Casper, on the other hand, I've told you this multiple times before on the podcast, but it still makes me laugh every morning. So when you go up to go and feed them, Casper goes to the back of the stable and has a wee. It's like one of those, like, what is it, Pavlov's dog, where, like, I don't know, I can't remember the story behind it, but they did some sort of experiment where they'd ring a bell and the dog would start drooling because it knew that it would get food whenever it heard the bell. Well, that's kind of what it's like with Casper. He comes and sees me and he's like, oh, better go and have a wee, make some room for my breakfast down there. But anyway, so there we go. Every morning he has a wee. So after Casper had relieved himself, it was then time to get him groomed, washed, and ready to go to the beach very, very early in the morning. So we trundled off in the horse box and got to the beach. Now, our beach, there was a stage where in the summer it was a little bit of a nightmare when going to the beach. We're lucky because there are a lot of beaches near us that you can't take horses at certain times, especially in the summer, because obviously South Coast beaches get very busy. A lot of people come here on their holidays, and this is a lot of people, and you can't really gallop a horse around when there's a lot of people about. So most beaches, there's like a certain time slot that you have to go to make sure that it's not during peak times. And to be fair, our beach would never get busy with people, but it would get quite busy with cars and parking. And the worst thing, like I feel like this is every equestrian that goes out on a horse box regularly has gone through this once, where somebody, I don't know why car drivers do this, but they decide to park right next to your horse box, and it's like, well, the ramp is down. Do you have any sort of imagination of how we get the horse into the horse box? It is with the ramp that you have parked next to. You can't go in sideways. They've got to go in, up the ramp. So anyway, there have been a few times where we've had to move the horse box because somebody's got a little bit too cozy next to us. But yeah, our local beach, there isn't that much parking, but they've done this actually at the local forest as well, and it is brilliant. It's my favourite thing. Now, most people would not say having to pay for parking is their favourite thing, but for all of us equestrians in the local area, we love it because nobody goes to that beach anymore. Nobody goes to that area of the forest because you have to pay for parking. But what does it mean? The car parks are desolate, quiet, nobody there, and you're like, oh my goodness, this is amazing, this is brilliant. I don't have to be like tacking up my horse in some car park with cars moving and grooving about, which I'm very lucky. All of my horses are very good with cars, desensitized, very well trained. Although actually at our local beach, it is right next to a train line. All of my horses are very good with the trains, but poor Casper, he does luckily I'm always there with him, but he does he gives the train a side eye. That's what I'm going to say. He doesn't do anything naughty. He doesn't spook or jump or that kind of thing, but he does like to give it a bit of a side eye. He's like, oh, that's a little bit noisy and a little bit fast. Not quite for me. But no, so normally at that beach, just for safety reasons, tack him up in the horse box, and then lead him down. So this beach, it's very, very pebbly, and recently, because in the UK we get quite a lot of flooding every winter, they do this thing where they get loads of diggers. So I think sometime last winter I think it was Casper that we took to the beach, and it was literally all of the diggers in the county had come down to the beach, and they're moving all the shingle or adding shingles so to protect the coastline. So we don't want the sea going and approaching onto the train line because that would not be good. But anyway, so they were doing all of that. Luckily he was fine with it, because normally Casper, I say his worst fear is a tractor with a big old corn or a big old combine harvester, or maybe a tractor that's been doing hay, I'm going to sound really untractory right now. All of my friends that are farmers are going to be like, oh my gosh, Ez, you should be well educated by now. But I don't know, if they have a topper or something like that on the back that looks quite scary with blades and sticky out bits and that kind of thing, or a rattly trailer. Casper is not a fan of a rattly trailer, which isn't the best. It was not the best when I took him to shows, because what would there be at shows? A lot of people coming in with horses with a rattly trailer. I'd say it's more like the cattle or sheep kind of trailers that I'd say are the most rattly, that he doesn't like. But bless him, he's so good. He will just stand there and he won't do anything when he spooks, but he might just shake a little bit like a nervous puppy, if that makes sense. So anyway, it was then time to lead him down to the beach, over all the shingle. Now, Casper's also not favourite thing. He loves it when he actually gets onto the beach, but getting down there, it's quite pebbly. So what I normally do is, because I'm I don't really want to be on top of him when I'm leading him down, especially as sometimes he needs a little bit of confidence from me. So because they'd done all that stuff with the diggers and made it so there's this big old bank, I'm like, Casper, I used to do cross country on you. You can go down a little pebble bank. You're all good. So we took our time. I was very patient and very gentle, because the last thing that you want to do if your horse is nervous about something is have a go at them and stress them out even more. That's not my way of doing things. So I was like, it's okay, Casper. Me and my dad were there, and we're like, we're just gonna go down this bank nice and slowly. And he goes to be fair, when he goes down the horse box ramp, he also goes very slowly. He's a very cautious boy. I think maybe with his older age, he's you know what, he's like an old anxious granny. He's just ooh. But anyway, so he was going down the bank very slowly, and then when we actually got there, he was fine. Although to start with, he's always a little bit funny with the puddles because the tide had just gone out, so we were there in perfect time. So we weren't having to worry about it coming back in straight away and then being stranded or having no sand left. So yeah, that was a very early start. I had a nap that afternoon after my lunch. But anyway, so to start with, he's like, oh my gosh, what are these puddles? I could put my hoof in and drown, even though it's probably only a few millimeters above the ground. So again, he's very good, and he trusts me. I've had him for over 10 years now. That is wild. So I'm like, it's okay, Casper, just follow my dad on his bike, because Casper also, he's like very attached to my dad as well. He also sees him as the food man and I'm the food lady. So he doesn't like getting left behind. He's got that herd mentality. So if my dad goes bobbling through this like puddle, he's like, okay, I'll follow, I'll come on through. But no, we had so much fun. He absolutely loves it there, especially as we can have like a proper gallop. Like, don't get me wrong, I love a gallop in a field. But in a field, you sometimes have to be worried about if there's maybe a molehill or a lump or a hole there's a lot of rabbit holes. There's a lot of rabbits where we are. But on the beach, you can see if there's anything. You do have to be careful about, depending on what beach you go to, if there is sinking sand. So look out for that. Luckily, our beach, we're all good. So yeah, we can have a proper go for it, and he loves it. And then he's like zooming along with my dad. We filmed a cool little video as well. Didn't go in the sea. The sea is not for Casper. He gets really confused when the sea comes towards him and then goes away from him, because with horses, you know, there's that kind of pressure and release of but yeah, he's like, oh, the sea's going away from me, fine, it's scared of me, I'll approach it. But then as soon as it comes towards him, he's like, whoa, excuse me, why are you approaching my personal space? No, get away. And then the sea goes away and he's like, yeah, you better get away from me. Then it comes back and he's like, whoa, personal space. So it's just this kind of like back and forth. I think if there was another horse that went in the sea, he would go in the sea with it if he had already got his hooves wet, which is so weird because Casper loves favourite thing is to be bathed. He finds it the most relaxing thing. He like falls asleep. He loves it. He loves being bathed, which is great because he's a grey that needs to be bathed a lot. But any sort of like, even water jump when we did, that's why I never did like eventing with him, because it would take him like 30 seconds to get into the water. And once he was in the water, he was fine and canter in, jump in, go in from a drop in. But the first time, he just has to check for crocodiles. He has to check for monsters. He has to make sure that it's safe. Is there a lifeguard around? Is someone going to save me? Someone got like a flotation device just in case. But yeah, when it comes to bathing, loves it. Joey, on the other hand, my other horse, is the complete opposite. He hates being bathed. To be fair, he tolerates it now. He's learnt, if I stand still, the quicker she'll bath me, the quicker it will be over. He doesn't get like stressed. Like when we first got him, he got a little stressy at times. He was like, I just want to let you know that I do not like this. I will tolerate it, but I do not like it. And now he just kind of stands there and gives me the side eye and he's like, hurry up. I don't like it. I don't like it that much. Maybe he'll learn to love it like Casper. I don't think he will. Casper just, I've never met a horse that likes being bathed as much as he does. Maybe that's why he gets dirty on purpose. Anyway, when Joey, he loves water. Cross-country jump, puddle. Oh, I'll have a good old splash in there. Yeah, let's get as wet as I possibly can. You know what? Let's splash so much that I get Esme as wet as I possibly can as well. So there we go. But no, had a good old time. What's quite fun is that our local beach, there's often little kind of, I don't know how to call it, little sea streams, sea rivers, not an estuary because it's not coming from like a full-on river, but where there's like a little water kind of trickles where it kind of comes down and it's made like a little channel in the sand. Casper loves jumping over those, so I feel like I'm going out doing like a little water jump because we'll just be cantering along. My dad will go splish splash splosh with his bike through it and Casper's like, I'm gonna jump it, I'm gonna leap over it. Also, my dad always we have to bring like a spare towel with us because when you're riding on a bike on the beach, he gets so much spray of like sand and water all the way up his back, and it's disgusting. It is gross, but there we go. But no, Casper had a lovely time. I had a lovely time. I assume my dad had a lovely time, although he just went like this with his hand. He went like, kinda. I think maybe the early start was not for him. He had not had enough. He was not coffee efficient. He did not have enough coffees that morning, so there we go. But yes, that was our trip to the beach. Next up, I thought I would talk about my trip to an RDA Center, which I was just taken aback by how, like, welcomed I was there. Like, everyone was so lovely. I first arrived and they were like, here's a box of chocolates. They've got me, like, the lady that I was interviewing later on, she got me a whole, like, flower pot with flowers in for the garden, as apparently she listens to the podcast. So I just want to give a little shout out to Kiana, who I interviewed, which I'll be talking about a little bit later on. I say later on, literally in the next few seconds. But yeah, she very kindly got me flowers, and she got my dad a Toblerone as well. What was quite funny is, like, she knew a lot about me and my dad already from the podcast. So they're like, straight away I was like, oh, would you like a coffee? I know your dad likes coffee and all that kind of thing. So that was really cute, really funny. But yeah, I met lots of people there, so that was really lovely, especially as it's summer holidays now. I know a lot of you guys are off for your, like, summer vacation or summer holidays, whatever you want to call it. Although I know you guys in America that call it summer vacation. You guys have been off since, like, June or whatever. So in the UK, schools have only just sort of come out. But we don't go, well, I say we, I don't go to school anymore. But we don't go back until, like, September. And I'm pretty sure in America, a lot of schools go back in August. So there we go. Anyway, that wasn't very interesting. Moving on back to my time with Kiana. So I got to meet her for the first time. So this was all very kindly organised by Bella Magazine, who are doing an article on her and me. And I had a little chat with her, an interview. So look out for that on my social media. I'll hopefully be doing some sort of short format video where I interview her and talk about her story. But she is 16 and she has managed to raise over £2,000 for the RDA, which is incredible. She did was it 8 miles that she did a walk? She did a long walk on her holiday in Jamaica to raise money, and she is a cancer survivor. She is blind. There was also one stage where she was paralysed as well. So it was really fascinating hearing about her story, and so lovely for her to share it as well and talk about her riding with the RDA. And what was also really cool was, obviously I haven't come across many blind riders in my life, and I guess I was very naive, and I assumed that she would be on the lead rein, when actually she did a lot of riding off the lead rein. It was incredible how she was using her hearing, and also the horse can see where to go, but she could hear where people were and them saying, like, okay, you need to go left a little bit, right a little bit, and she did a straighter line in walk than I probably would on Joey, to be honest. Our straightness is definitely something that we need to improve on. Joey is the sort of horse where he does like to kind of just, like, waddle around a little bit. The other day on my hack, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna have really loose reins and just see where he goes when we were, like, walking down a very quiet country lane. And he was going here, there, and everywhere. He was like, oh, I'm going to go over here and have a little nose in this hedge. Like, Joey is, like, the nosiest horse. But anyway, yes, look out for my interview with Kiana soon, because she is such an incredible rider, and it was so lovely to meet her. She was so lovely, and so was her family and everyone else at the RDA. So also, if this summer, if you are young, don't have anything to do, or you don't have to be young, but I know that a lot of people might be bored on their summer holidays, and are interested in horses and want to do some volunteering. If you do have any spare time, please go and volunteer for your local RDA branch if you can. They do such incredible stuff and such amazing things. So this is my little shout out to the RDA, because they are a brilliant charity. Okay, so next up, I'm going to be talking about somebody new in my life. As you guys know, I have been single basically since the beginning of this year. So I've had, like, I was going to say my single girl summer. I've basically, this new person I have been talking to since beginning of June, I want to say, so a little while. But obviously, you guys know, with my love life and private life and that kind of thing, I like to keep it private but not secret, if that makes sense. So I just, there's somebody new that I've found that I've been talking to, and I thought I was like, I'm going on holiday with him next week, or at the end of this week, actually. Which, I don't know if that's a little bit forward. It's only like a little weekend away, but I was like, we might be getting up to some fun stuff that, I don't know, might come up, have some fun stories to tell you guys on the podcast. I was like, it's got to the level where I'm like, I should probably let you know that there is, because, we've got up to some fun stuff over the last month or so. But yeah, just thought, I don't know, I'm being really awkward about this. I feel like I'm I don't know, it's because my dad's here. I don't know, like, he's met him. He's dad approved, so there we go. But yes, I don't know. Okay, I don't know what else to say, but yes, there we go. There is somebody that I'm seeing at the moment. So, yeah, But I enjoyed my time being single. I think it was I had my little girls trip. I think it's important to have some time being single when you're an adult and appreciating your own company. I mean, I've always been like that. You guys know me. I love a good bit of introvert time, but we have a lot in common. We're both very outdoorsy and like animals and that kind of thing. But anyway, there we go. That was my little. If you want to update your records or that kind of thing, I don't know. But yes, that's what I'm going to be getting up to this weekend. Little trip away. But talking about trips away, I've actually saying that I was like, oh yeah, I've not done that many things away. We spent the day at Hickstead, which isn't too far away, and I went there and I was very kindly invited by the Bunn family. So me and my dad, we went along. The Bunn family own Hickstead. Sorry, I probably should have said that, not just like some random family invited me to a show. No, so they very kindly put us in the fancy smancy box. So that was very generous of them, and it was lovely to catch up with Daisy and the rest of the gang and everyone else. And yeah, we were there for Nations Cup Day for the afternoon, and that was incredible. We were so lucky with the weather. Finally, we have had some sun over here in the UK, British summertime and all that. But yes, it was actually really hot, really sunny. It's actually very hot and sunny today, actually. That's why I thought, you know what? Now's a good time to film the podcast because I don't want to go outside. It's got to that stage where, you guys know me, I am not very good with heat, not very good with the sun. So I'm like, I'm going to go and shut all the windows in the office, record a podcast episode. And yes, so there we go. I had my hair done this morning, actually, so if you are watching rather than listening, my hair actually looks quite nice for once during the podcast, rather than me being like just ridden a horse. I'll just do a slick back bun and hope for the best, because most people listen to this rather than actually watch it. But anyway, so there we go. Sorry, back to the show. Yeah, it was great. UK, Team GB. We went and smashed it and won although it's not called the Nations Cup anymore. Sorry, I was doing the OG version. It is the is it League of Nations? No, that was last year. Was that last year? What is it now? Is it the Nations Cup still? Yeah. Okay, it was the Agria. Okay, I need to get this right, because if not, someone's going to shout at me. It was the Agria Nations Cup GB version, because it was at Hickstead in the UK. But yes, we won. Team GB, let's go. So that was really cool. That was nice to see. And yeah, it was just a lovely day. And then the day after that, I was like, I was a bit showed out. Two shows in one weekend. I'm used to doing one or 2 days at one show, but to do two shows in two different places. Anyway, the next one was the game fair. Now, normally, I don't know why I decided to do this, but you guys know me, every now and again I like to get my little Dyson Airwrap out. That is one thing that I am not the best at doing hair. Doing hair is not, I don't know what it is. Makeup, I feel like I can do to to somewhat standards. To be fair, I used to love watching makeup YouTube back in the day, like when I was getting ready or that kind of thing, just like YouTubers doing their makeup, chatting. I did get down like a makeup rabbit hole when I was younger, but never hair. Maybe it's because growing up I never had the longest hair, but doing hair is one thing that I just really struggle with. I tell you what, I don't even plait my horse's tails for dressage, because whenever I try and do it, I never do it tight enough, and then it sags and then it falls down and it just looks awful. So I'm like, okay, we're going to trim your tails so they don't need to be plaited. Anyway, plaiting and braiding and just hair in general is not my forte. You know, so some people, they can do like French braids or Dutch braids or all that kind of stuff. I could not do that to save my life. Every time I do it, I never do it tight enough, and then it falls out and it just looks stupid or silly. But I feel like I have a kind of routine of hairstyles that are my go-to. So either down and straight, down and curled with my Airwrap, because that's the only way I can curl. I have tried to curl with hair straighteners. I have watched the tutorials online. For some reason, I just cannot do it. It just kind of looks kind of weird and flicky. My friend Lydia, she has curled my hair before with hair straighteners, and she is incredible. She can do it so well. So I feel like she needs to give me a proper lesson. Although she always says, don't watch how I do this, because every time somebody watches me curl my hair, they tell me I'm doing it wrong and I'm doing it weird. So I don't know, maybe she's the best person to teach me, but I can't do hair very well. I can do low ponytail, high ponytail. I can do a plait. I quite like, my bedtime hair is normally like a little side plait. I know that some people call it a braid plait, whatever you want to say. But yeah, so I could never really do anything fancy with my hair until I got my air wrap, which I did get in the Black Friday sale, because you best believe I'm not paying full price for that, because that is expensive. But it is the only thing that I can make my hair look somewhat decent with when it comes to styling, and I'm not going to toot my own horn, but it does. My hairdresser said to me that my hair looked nice, so I'm taking that. Maybe she was just being polite. But the other morning when we went to the game fair, I was like, I had my hair curled the day before, and it just a few of my curls needed like a little, just where it's kind of dropped over the day and just didn't look as good. I was like, okay, I'm gonna wake up early. I'm gonna do it. I was so proud of myself. Okay, so I woke up at 10 to 5. Had my 5 minutes in bed of being like, I need to get up. Got changed, did my skincare. I managed to air wrap my hair in 8 minutes. Although I did have my hair curled before, but I did do every single strand one more time just in case. Did it in 8 minutes. I was so proud of myself. Did I do my makeup at the service station in the car? Yes, I did. But did it look like I did my makeup at the service station in the car? No. So I'll take that. Probably because I'm more of like a natural makeup girly, so it doesn't take me that long. But anyway, so went to the game fair for the first time, which I had no idea what I was expecting, because I'd never been there before. It's at Blenheim Palace though, and I am going to be at Blenheim Palace International Horse Trials on the Saturday in September. So all information for any meet and greets is at thisesme.com. Sorry to be that person, but I just want to let you know, just in case anybody of you want to come along. And I always get asked when my next meet and greets are, so there we go. But anyway, so I was kind of there I was invited by Fairfax and Favour, and I'm not just saying this because I work with the brand and I'm sponsored by them, but every show I go to where they're there, I'm like, I don't know how they can make this stand bigger or better, but they do. This year, they had an ice cream truck. How cool is that? So I had some strawberry ice cream. They always have like a little drinks bar as well. They have like some dude on a saxophone, or like they have like a live band. It's all popping off there. So if you're ever at a show, just go along for the vibes, go along for the party, have a little look round. So it was really lovely to see all the team again. I feel like every time we go to a show, it was meet up and have a little catch up. That's one thing I love about the shows, is that all the like brands and people that I work with, a lot of the time we're like doing Zoom calls or emails or that kind of thing, and you actually get to see people in real life, which is lovely. So yeah, very good friends with all the Fairfax crew. And yeah, so that was really lovely to see them. Did a little bit of shopping. The only thing that I did buy, I bought myself a pink hat. Number one, because it was absolutely boiling there, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to get scalp burn. If you've ever been, as you guys know, I'm a Factor 50 girl. I will wear Factor 50 like I am a newborn ginger vampire baby who is allergic to the sun. I am religious with my sun cream. But scalp is the one thing that you always forget about. And I don't really, this sounds really bad, but I don't really like putting sun cream on my scalp because I don't want my hair to look greasy, especially as I only just washed it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get myself a hat, because that is one thing that I'm very lucky. My grandma used to say to me when I was younger, she's like, Esme, you could put a saucepan on your head and it would suit you. So there we go. I am a girl. I don't have many talents, but I do suit a hat. So there we go. So I got myself a hat. I was umming and ahhing about all the different ones, because I was going to get one that was like a tan kind of colour to match my tan Reginas that I was wearing. And my dad was like, no, Ez. So there are some things that my dad says, and it's like, how are you a 50-year-old man? You are definitely a teenage girl. So he said to me, no, Ez, you need to go main character. So I was arguing between that or the baby pink one. Did I go for the baby pink one? Yes, I did. I thought pink, I'd say pink and green are probably my favourite colours. I get asked a lot about what my favourite colour is. I feel like any shade of pink, any shade of green, I like. Like they're on blue as well, but I feel like blue is so basic. You see blue everywhere, but I don't know. But with pink, you cannot go wrong. I do like a lilac as well. Sorry, I'm just saying all the colours of the rainbow now. But baby pink, oh my gosh, chef's kiss, love it. But I know it's probably overhyped, but baby pink, I just love it. So I was very happy with that was my one purchase. I bought a baby pink hat. But no, so yeah, the game fair was, I tell you what, there were, if I'm being pedantic, there were a lot of shops all selling like the same stuff. Maybe that's just me. So if you need a checked shirt or if you need some boots, or if you need some boat shoes, or if you need a gilet, that was the place to go. Also, one thing that we didn't realise, it was so much busier than we were expecting. We thought, get there early, leave early before it gets too hot and busy. We were there at 8 a.m. in the morning. 8 o'clock. The trade stands didn't open till 9, but the doors opened at 8. We were in a queue behind so many people to get in, and we had to basically walk almost 2 miles from the car park to get into the actual show. And me and Dad, because we'd been there before for the horse trials, we were like, we're very far away from where the main thing is. But the main show, it was huge. I'd never seen so many shops in my life. It was like our local country show on steroids. We were like, what on earth? This is huge. So yeah, there were lots of people there, lots of very country people. They did have a whole alleyway of kind of guns and stuff. So that wasn't for me personally, but you never know. Might be down your street, might not be, but it was really, I loved all the dog stuff. They had so much dog stuff there, as you guys know. I really want a dog. I've had, actually, when I was at the RDA, all the people there were like, so Esme, because they listened to the podcast, they're like, so Esme, when you're getting your dog, you keep saying that you're going to get a dog. Well, at the moment, I don't know. I don't think this year, although saying that, I still need to do more thinking and research about what breed I want to get and all that kind of stuff. And have a little think about what my lifestyle is going to be like over the next 10 years, because obviously, or even longer than that, because when you have a dog, you have a dog for life. So I need to sort out my life and sort out my future plans for the next decade or two. But all I'm saying is, the new guy that I'm seeing, he's got 2 dogs, so I might be able to get my dog fix in that way. But yes, anyway, I don't know yet, but all I'm going to say is that my vet, who I'm really good friends with, she's might be having puppies with her dog in 2025. So, because that's one thing that, you know, I want to make sure that if I do get a dog that's a puppy rather than a rescue, is to make sure that it's from a good home. I know the mum, there's lots of dodgy backyard breeding and that kind of thing. I know it's like a whole, I've done a video recently that I still need to edit and upload, all about trying to find your first horse, and that is a whole can of worms, a whole minefield, a lot of dodgy people that you might come encounter with when it comes to the world of buying and selling horses. But I've heard it's also a little bit like that with dogs as well. So yes, and also whenever you take on any animal, you need to make sure that you can give them the best life possible, and that is something that I'm very passionate about. So I will only get a dog when I know I can give it the best life possible. So when that time comes, it will come. But yes, anyway, there we go. Dog stuff. Yes, dogs. Sorry. Back to the game fair. So yeah, they had all the dogs there and the working dogs and just so many cute dogs. I was just walking around like, oh my gosh, look at that. There was a lot of Labradors and a lot of Spaniels, which are some of my favourite dog breeds. So there we go. That was very cute. I had lots of fun looking at all of them. And they had the Shetland Pony Grand National there as well, so that was really cool. They had some horsey bits too. But yeah, it was a lovely day out. It was so busy. I mean, to be there, I was there on the Saturday, and it was very warm, very busy. And then me and my dad were like, okay, I feel like we've seen everything. We've done the things. I know they had a lot of like wildlife trust stuff there as well, and naturey things and outdoorsy things. And the other thing that I have done is, as you guys know, I am still in my gardening era. I feel like I haven't talked about it as much on the podcast because there's not been any like major changes. It's not like, oh, I've put in this whole new bed, or I don't know, that kind of thing. And I don't know how interesting gardening is to you guys. I know it's Esme's Country Life, but as you guys know, my garden has been overtaken by slugs. There are so many slugs, so much so my parents, actually, my family, call my house Slug Cottage. That's not its actual name. Please do not search up Slug Cottage and go to some random person's house, because that will not be my house. But as a joke, my family call my house Slug Cottage because, I don't know if I said this ever before, but because we go for walks quite a lot in that kind of area, and there was once when my mum walked by where my house is, and there was this slug, and it was the biggest slug we have ever seen in our entire lives. Oh my goodness. It wasn't half a metre long, but it looked like that, and It was a thick boy as well. But anyway, it's a real juicy slug. So anyway, when I bought my house, my mum was like, oh, you can go and live with all the slugs. And at first we're like, ha ha ha, very funny, very funny. I found out that gardening is also another word for buying expensive plants and feeding all of the slugs in the local area. So there we go. But one thing my slugs have not touched is my potatoes, because they are underground and the slugs did not get them. And I also have some tomatoes that are coming through, but it's not tomato season yet. But oh my goodness, my potato haul, I was so proud of myself. I was showing my friends. I was showing my grandma. Yes, I was that person that put it on my Instagram story being like, look at all my potatoes. But yes, I was so excited. So I love a good potato. Some mash, some chips, some breakfast potatoes, some roast potatoes, new potatoes, all the different potatoes. So that's what I'm going to be eating for the next month or two, is just pure potatoes. Nothing else. No, I will eat some other things. You've got to have a balanced diet, but every meal will probably have some sort of potato with it. So there we go. One thing that I always... it does take a lot of work, you know. You've got to dig them all up, and then there are a few that I was so gutted. My biggest potato I accidentally stabbed with my pitchfork, so you've got to be careful about that. But to be fair, it was a big target. It was big, so there we go. That was sad. But there was some big old potatoes there, so... Also, it does take a long time to wash them all and then dry them all. And then you have to make sure that you put them in the dark so they don't continue growing and all that kind of stuff or go green. So, yes, there we go. I have been a potato farmer this week. I'll keep you updated on my tomatoes. Hopefully the slugs don't get them. So tune in next week's... No, it probably will be a little bit longer than next week, but tune in the next... Also, talking about weeks, apparently I think this is podcast 70. How ridiculous is that? It's been... over 70 weeks of the podcast, 70 episodes of you guys listening to me yapping away, rambling away. Hopefully there have been some interesting times over the last 70. Oh my gosh, that means we've only got 30 more to go until it's 100 episodes. Oh my goodness. Anyway, on that note, I've probably been yapping and rambling on for way too long once again. But I hope you enjoyed listening to today's episode. I was going to say, let me know in the comments. Not all platforms have comments, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. And I hope you just thank you to Red Post again for sponsoring, and I'll see you all next time. And I hope you all have a lovely summer and a lovely day and a lovely life. See ya. Bye. That was such an awkward outro. I don't know why I was like, lovely life.